forged among stars.
Hawking Duval stands, looking towards the ancient ship that has crashed. He has reached his objective, but now before him he has found an ominous pool of blood within the snow nearby. And he has just seen a movement that has caught his eye. A remnant, one of those ancient beings that looks like a human oil slick down on its shoulders and head, but it has a powerful humanoid body. He had drawn his weapon, sensing that there was danger nearby. And now he sees this ancient creature, and he is going to act. So what Hawking Duval does is we're going to go down here to combat moves. We're going to choose battle. Now, in the game, what I could do is I could enter the fray, which is a longer combat sequence. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a battle because this is going to happen fast and quick. If we get into a conflict somewhere else, I will do an enter the fray. And we will see a more detailed combat encounter with that. But this, I want to do battle. And so this is just a quick, chaotic clash of two individuals or two foes. When he sees this ancient remnant, he is just going to aim his gun and he's going to fire. Now, Hawking Duval has killed one of these creatures before, and he wishes to do so again. As you can see here on the screen, here is a little bit about battle. However, first, let's look over here at Companion Symbiote Monarch. So Hawking Duval has a symbiote. He calls himself Monarch. When you do an aggressive move, I can add the symbiote's health to my roll. And that is what Hawking Duval is going to do. So we are going to roll battle, and we will add +2 because of Monarch's helping him. I am also going to roll with heart because this is Hawking Duval showing his courage to face an ancient creature like this. So what I will do is I will paint this in fiction, and then we will roll. So Hawking Duval in this icy waste with the ship in his view, he sees this ancient creature walking along. The creature senses him or catches his eye, whatever eye means for a creature such as this. And he turns to face Hawking Duval, and Hawking Duval raises his gun and aims it at the creature. And in his mind, he says, "Monarch, I need you. I need you right now." And a small voice answers, "Yes, Hawking. Go. I'm with you." And Hawking Duval pulls the trigger. Here's the +2 from Monarch. A strong hit. So let's see what that says. On a strong hit, you achieve your objective unconditionally. You and any allies join the battle may take 2 momentum. Excellent. I need that momentum. We'll bump it up to 4. And so this is what happens. Hawking Duval discharged a round from his firearm, and it hit the creature squarely in the chest, and the creature falls harmlessly to the ground, dead. Hawking leans back. He unzips his coat, reholsters his firearm, zips his coat back up, and he looks around just to make sure that he doesn't see any other creatures around him at this moment. And then, of course, he remembers the puddle of blood on the ground. So he draws out his scanner device that he keeps with him at all times, and he scans the blood on the ground. And to his horror and dismay, the blood is human. So there is something going on here that Hawking Duval knows nothing about. A human has been killed, and it looks like it was recent, because even though the blood is soaked within the snow, it is still fairly fresh. He puts the scanner back into its holster, and he says to himself, "All right, Hawking, you signed up for this job. Let's go." And he walks forward to the vessel. It's just a short way across a small snowfield. And there the ancient hull is cracked and split open. And Hawking Duval ducks inside. There are a few things I need to take care of. I had made some mistakes, as I always do. I forgot to look at Thule from orbit. So here is some more that I have rolled up on Thule. I knew before that its Atmosphere was marginal, so that means Hawking needs a breath mask occasionally. But from space, you can see a supersized ice volcano. You can also see frozen oceans that are just vast. Then once on the planet, there are steaming hot springs, shattered plains of pack ice, and life is scarce. I had forgot to roll those up. That would have been very cinematic if I would have known that when the shard of the sun was landing on the planet, but I forgot to do that. Go back in our imaginations and think of what that would look like. Now, the hot springs, we haven't come across those yet, and the pack ice we'll introduce later, or maybe Hawking passed some of that when he was taking his expedition to the ancient starship that has crashed on Thule. So we'll go back here, and I want to add a few story elements. So as Hawking ducks inside of this ancient ship, he checks his comm to see if he can still hear Scout or Dancer. And so he checks his comm and he says, "Scout, can you still read me?" Scout answers, "Yes, Jester, loud and clear." Hawking responds, "Excellent. Just stand by. I've entered the vessel." And she responds, "Woohoo! Make this quick and come home." Hawking wonders what this new friend is going to be like, and he thinks he is starting to like her already. Now, there are rules in the game about coming up with a derelict, and we are going to create this vessel. And I'm going to roll right here in the episode so you guys know that I'm not cheating some of these rules. So I have now discovered, as I had said before, I didn't really realize this was here, but here are derelicts. So we're going to roll this up and we can see what this vessel is like. Now the location, I'm assuming, planetside, orbital, deep space. Well, we already know this is planetside, so we're not going to roll that randomly. But then we'll take a look at type and I'll see if that works. Okay, so we're not going to roll on this table either because we already know it is a starship. This was rolled randomly all the way back in season 1, how many ever years ago that was. So we know it's a starship, so I don't have to roll that. But I have never created anything else about this ship. Condition, I have been talking like it is damaged or breached or having heavy damage, but I will go ahead and roll just in case it is impending destruction, although I don't know what I would do if I got that roll. So let's see. Let's just roll for fun. If it doesn't work, I'll change it, but let's see. Okay, 30, limited power. Let me roll again. Are you serious? All right. Well, those 3 rolls actually are quite incredible. So limited power, so there could be some power still on in this vessel. Now I rolled an 80 here at the end, which is breached, and I've already been kind of describing it as the hull is cracked, and indeed Hawking just walked through a crack in its hull. So I've been describing that. I also rolled 100, impending destruction. So it's going to blow up, I guess, at some point. Like I've been saying, I like random tables. I like dealing with that. And that is too funny that I just rolled impending destruction. So I will see how I can work that in. So that was condition. Let's go to outer look. Now I can see here by looking here, some of these don't work. But let's roll and we'll get some cool descriptors. 59. Odd orientation. Okay. So the ship has crashed on the planet, but it didn't crash with the floors like even to the planet, right? It crashed to where it is on its side. So the floor and the ceiling are now like walls, and the walls are the floor and ceiling. Some of those other ones don't fit, so we'll skip those. So that is the outer look. The inner look. So let's look here. Got a 5. Active bots. Let me write that down. Let's get another one for fun. 34. Esoteric writing or symbols. So this is right up Hawking Duval's alley. So the ship has its own language, a different language some of these symbols that Hawking just doesn't understand, which is super cool and piques his curiosity because he is crazy. Well, he is curious and he needs his knowledge because he is driven, because he has been denied a birthright. Zones. So let's look here on our zones table. I don't know how many times you're supposed to roll on this. Let me go back for a second. So that's zones, access, through corridors. Okay, a lot of tables here. So I'm just trying to get this, making sure I'm understanding what's going on. Okay, so there's a lot of tables to roll on to build out this derelict. And these are the different zones, of course. This would be the access to some of those zones. And what I'm going to use this as is, I think the ship would have all of these zones, of course, but as Hawking goes into the ship, I will roll this to see what zone he entered. But we already know what access he took, and the hull was breached. So we've got that part. Let's see what zone Hawking entered. 16. He entered into an engineering zone. Then we will go down here and we'll look at the engineering table and we'll find out what type of engineering this was. So we rolled 59. That is a vehicle bay or garage. Okay, it says this is best when we want just an extra detail. And I think I am going to roll on it, but it says use it sparingly. So 17, it's a crane or a lift, so I will describe some of this when Hawking enters, and we will see what it looks like. We'll go over to moves because we're going to need to undertake expedition, but this time, since Hawking didn't care about the planet Thule, really, I never explored a waypoint. But this is something now that Hawking will be doing. And so we're going to undertake an expedition, and then when he reaches waypoints, he will explore them. I hope that makes sense. So we're going to roll undertake expedition, and we're going to create a progress bar, but I'm going to use wits right now. To do this, there is no pluses. So Hawking gets a weak hit. His momentum will not save him on this. So I will make progress on my bar. And then I can choose one. So I've already done enough minuses. So I am going to envision a peril at the waypoint and have to fight somebody or something. We'll see. So let's go over here to the progress. So we're going to create another progress bar. This is the exploring the vessel. I mean, this has to be dangerous, at least, if not formidable. Yeah, it's going to have to be formidable, I think. All right, so we have set that. I have a weak hit, so I can mark progress. I'm going to imagine a peril at this waypoint. Also, let's check here. Help Lodestar recover a relic from the planet's surface. Now, when you're doing these vows, a lot of this is up to the player's interpretation as to when you reach milestones. I think reaching the vessel is definitely a milestone, but I think also reaching the planet is one. Would reaching the planet be one? I think so. So I'm going to mark 2 boxes on that. This right here, I think he has also made some progress toward freeing Scout. So it is troublesome. So we will do that, but we'll wait to see about that. Now, bring Ogre a mineral sample from the planet Thule. This is formidable. I think reaching the planet is 1. He mentioned that it was under the vessel, so I think that is 2. So we're going to mark some of that progress before I forget and end up breaking this whole game. So let's look back here. So exploring the crashed starship. So we are going to face a peril. So what I think this is that we rolled that there were bots on this vessel. So when Hawking Duval enters into this engineering bay, which is kind of cool because it would be on the outer side of the ship, he is going to see one of these bots, and it doesn't like him. Okay, so here is how it's going to go down in fiction.
Forged Among Stars will be right back.
Subscribe to the Dice Geeks Insider, a weekly RPG newsletter. Links below.
Forged Among Stars.
So Hawking Duval slips through a crack in the breached hull. He finds himself in a vehicle bay. There's a giant crane or lift of some type since the whole vessel is tilted, the crane may actually be pretty much under Hawking's feet when he enters, because this whole vessel is now turned on its side, and the ceiling is where Hawking is entering, and that is like a wall behind him. And he enters, and the ship is on this odd orientation, and he is trying to gain his bearings a bit, and he crawls in, and he has to shimmy down this crane, and he gets to the floor, which is the wall. He is about ready to pull his scanner out of his holster when he hears a noise. It's like electrical crackling, and he turns to see a bot, a round maintenance bot or machinist bot that has two little arms, and it is rolling across the floor, and at the end of one of its arms it is like an arc welder, and it keeps hitting that arc welder, making a white hot sparking at the end of it, and it is headed right for Hawking Duval. Hawking quickly changes gears, pulls out his gun, and he is going to fire. We are going to go into battle. He is going to call on Monarch. He is rolling with his courage. Then he calls on Monarch. Monarch, help me, Monarch. And Monarch's calm, always calm. Of course, Hawking, go. Strong hit. Excellent. So Hawking Duval fires his sidearm and plants a bolt of some kind into this round creature that was rolling across the floor, and it sends out a shower of sparks, and it stops its rolling and ceases operation and is no longer a threat to Hawking Duval. And Hawking Duval takes 2 momentum. Okay, so that was what he faced there for our weak hit before. But now Hawking Duval is going to explore this waypoint, which is the engineering zone. So we're going to roll with wits. A lot of cool stuff happens if we get a strong hit. So this is only roll with wits, so that makes sense. So we're going to roll. There are no modifiers to this roll, so let's see what happens. Are you even serious right now? Oh, my goodness, I have gotten a miss with a match. That is almost the worst possible outcome that I can have. An immediate hardship or threat. I must pay the price or confront chaos. Oh, jeez. This is not what I wanted to happen right now. So let's go down here. Let's look. Let's find these rolls. Where is confront chaos? Okay, so confront chaos is right here. Oh, man. Let's take a look at what this says. When your exploration of a waypoint uncovers something dreadful, decide the number of aspects, 1, 2, or 3. Roll that number of times, or choose that number of aspects on the table below. Then envision how the encounter begins. For each result, when you first confront that aspect, Within the scope of the encounter, you and your allies may mark 1 tick on your Discovery Legacy track. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so I don't get any progress on my goal, so let's determine that. Now we'll come here and we'll see how many aspects. Well, let's see what the first one is, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, sure, why not? Dead, given unnatural life. Sweet. So let's see about another aspect. Do I dare? Messenger or signal with dire warning. People corrupted by chaos. Okay, so sweet. Okay, so I have it. I will play out the scene here in a bit, but what Hawking Duval is going to come across is he will notice that there are zombies from the original crew of the ship who are still hanging around. Then he's going to see a group of people who seem to be new arrivals who are corrupted by the chaos. And they are going to give him a dire warning. So this is going to be great. Great stuff here. We are rolling so well on these tables, guys. And by the way, this game is brutal. Okay? Absolutely brutal. So now, before I forget, I do get 1 tick over here. So that's nice. Only a few more, and I'll get some more experience points if Hawking Duval lives. Okay, so we're going to have to go back, and we're going to envision this and how it occurs. So Hawking Duval has entered this engineering room. It is oriented on its side. He is on what would be a wall, but it's huge, right? This is a bay. So the wall is like 40-ish feet. And he clambered down a crane that was on the ceiling, but now he is on the wall. And he had to shoot this runaway bot that was coming. But now, entering into this area are a group of spacers, not unlike Hawking himself, but they are corrupted. Their skin is bubbling, and their faces are twisted, and their limbs are twisted, and they're limping, and they're groaning, and they are coming towards Hawking, and they cry out, "Get out! Danger! Danger! Do not stay! Danger!" And Hawking Duval reaches into his coat yet again and unholsters his weapon. And just then, behind from where these corrupted spacers have entered, come the dead brought back to life. But not too many, because otherwise Hawking's dead. I will say that there are 2 of these undead monstrosities that were members of the original crew of this vessel who have now been in unnatural life for eons. Now, my focus really isn't battle, but we keep running into these battles. The other move here is enter the fray, where you go into a prolonged combat encounter. I don't want a prolonged combat encounter right now, so I'm just going to go to battle again. And again, Hawking Duval is going to call on Monarch. He is going to see if he can kill these 2 zombies. So Hawking Duval, in his mind, says, "Monarch, I need your help again." And Monarch's voice returns, "Of course, Hawking, go." And Hawking Duval squeezes off 2 rounds. And we got a weak hit. Hawking Duval achieves his objective. He shoots the 2 zombies dead, but not without a cost. And now I must pay the price. 86. You are stressed. All right, so what I'll take that to mean is I will lower my spirit yet again. Man, it's already at 2. Whew, that is rough. So Hawking Duval is now stressed out. He has just killed these 2 zombies, but there are a couple of spacers who are here who are corrupted by the chaos. And what I'm going to say happens is that as they come closer to Hawking, and we'll call it 3, spacers. They come closer to him. They succumb to the corruption. They fall down. The voices cut off, and they die. Hawking Duval doesn't really understand some of these things yet, so he pulls out his scanner, and he is going to gather information from these corpses of the spacers as well as the other crew, or zombies, as it were. So I think it's gather information. A miss. Oh, jeez. This is fantastic, guys. Fantastic. Could I spend momentum? So let's see. I guess I could spend momentum, I guess. If I spent all 6, I could turn it into a strong hit. Is that what is happening here? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm not going to spend it right now. I'll take the miss. We'll look at pay the price. I think I have an obvious outcome, but I'm going to roll first and just see. You are harmed. Yeah, that doesn't make too much sense here unless they hit me. Although that would be better than what I was thinking. Although the most obvious negative outcome that happens is that if these zombies touch you or scratch you, you become corrupted. And you turn into this mass of corrupted flesh and then die. So I think I'm going to go with that and say that that's what happens. So now if Hawking gets hit later on, it's going to be really bad. Really bad. So here we are. We are going to go back to undertake an expedition to see if we can do this. Okay, well, let's take a look over here. I think I did forget to do something. No, it would be under vows. When I reach a milestone to recover a relic or ancient knowledge, I get +2 to momentum. I didn't do that when I did that here for this milestone. So I'm going to raise my momentum to 8. Hey guys, I'm still trying to learn how to play this game. There's a lot to keep track of. The rules are fairly simple, really, but there's just a lot to keep track of. So I'm going to make sure I have that momentum because this is getting really hard. I have only 1 box, and it is formidable. So we're going to be here a while, I think. So let's go back to moves. Undertake expedition, and we roll. We are rolling with wits. Weak hit. Nice. Momentum won't save me on this one because I got a 10 on the challenge dice. But on a weak hit, gonna have to face another encounter at the next waypoint or take 2 suffer moves. But we do get to mark progress. So let's mark some progress there. Okay, so we got some progress marked, and we are going to have another peril, or we'll take some suffer moves. Oh my goodness. His spirit is already pretty low. His health is down, his supply is down. And let's look at suffer moves again. We could just lose some momentum, endure harm, withstand damage, companion takes a hit. I could have Monarch take a hit, but I would rather not. I like him more. Hawking likes him more than other stuff. Or sacrifice some supply. So Hawking could have to burn some supplies here. Or we're going to face a peril. Let's just go ahead and face another peril. So Hawking moves through the ship. He looked at this vehicle bay on its side, and he scrambles over, and he kind of has to jump up a little bit and grab onto a sideways door frame and pull himself up so he can enter a new zone. And he drops down on the other side, and this is a new zone, so we're going to roll on an oracle first. All right, so we're going to roll 22, still an engineering zone. I mean, that kind of makes sense because we're in an engineering kind of area. So we'll roll to see what type of area it is. Oh, sweet. It is an engine room or power core. So what is this peril that he sees? Or, well, let's get a feature real quick. 14. Control terminal. Ah, well, here you go. Here's a peril. Let's go ahead and roll on this table because we're going to face a peril here anyway, and I'm getting stuck in a rut on remnants or zombies. 29. Failing equipment requires a specific part or skill. Come back over here to moves. What type of skill would he need? So I'm looking at repair here. That may work. I mean, it's meant more to recover. So let's look at some adventure moves or quest moves. Now, I think that's going to be it. Now, this is not a repair, like to repair his ship or something like that. So I'm going to flavor it a little differently, but I'm going to have him roll. Because Hawking Duval enters this power core room because there is also a control terminal that he can see on there, that there is like a flashing indicator. And he knows that this is bad. Like, it's just like, this is like leaking some kind of power, or it's going to explode or something like that. He gets it. That's kind of a universal thing, even though this ship is an eon or whatever old. So he's going to go over to the control panel, and he is going to see if he can do something to this vessel. So we're using wits because he's doing this on his own. A weak hit. Okay, so now he actually does restore 1 point, whatever that means, to this vessel. I don't know how many points this vessel would have. This is for repairing your own vehicles or your own equipment. But like I said, I'm flavoring it to match with the needing a skill. So Hawking Duval runs over to this panel. He looks around. There's all these esoteric symbols, but he sees flashing, and there's damage to the panel. He just reaches in and he rewires a few things, and he hooks them together, and he steps back, and he notices that the flashing red light now flashes a little slower. And he thinks he's done something, but he doesn't know exactly what. So I did that undertake expedition, which was a weak hit, so I get to mark progress. And as I'm looking at this, I notice I didn't do something. Man, I keep forgetting stuff, guys. I'm so sorry. I have a traveling to the starship in the Outrider. I should have rolled to conclude that, so I'll do that now. Whew, I got a strong hit, which is very nice. So we'll go back over here to finish expedition, and on a strong hit, mark a reward. Was it dangerous? So I get 2 ticks. We'll take a look. It was dangerous. So I get 2 ticks on my legacy track. Legacy discoveries track, which is great. So I get 2 ticks on that. Whew. I have gained 2 more experience points. I'll change this up here to 6. This is going to be great, guys. If Hawking Duval survives, which is hardly a given at this moment. So he has done this one. Okay, good. So we can trash that one. Done. Oh, well, that's right. There was another one as well, reaching the starship. I apologize. Oh my gosh. Let's conclude this one. A weak hit. Let's see what that means. Okay, since we messed this one up, we get a weak hit. That means I mark 1 rank lower on progress, so I'll get 1 tick instead of 2. And then there was a complication at the end. I've already faced quite a few complications at the end of my journeys, so we'll do 1 tick right there. Man, I do apologize. I keep messing this up so bad. So let's modify this. We'll take that away. We'll be done. And we're exploring the ship. I think I just marked progress on this one, so I think we're good. I think we're all caught up. And Hawking Duval is going to want to make another move. He is going to want to explore a waypoint, even though this opens him up to more and more complications. He's just entered a room with a power core, and he has messed with the control panel trying to fix it, and he is not sure what he has done, but we know he has actually slowed down the impending destruction of this vessel. So Hawking Duval has done something good, besides kill a few zombies and a couple remnants. So we are going to explore a waypoint, and I hope we can get a strong hit with a match, and he'll make a discovery instead of keep rolling misses with matches and have zombies appear. So let's see what he gets. Whoa. Yeah, it's suggesting here that I burn my momentum to make this miss into a weak hit, and that is exactly what I am going to do. So what do I have to do? I have to spend 4 points of momentum. We'll go down to 4. Turn it into a weak hit. You uncover something interesting but is bound up in a peril or reveals an ominous aspect of this place. Envision what you encounter and then take +1 momentum. Do I get to mark progress? No, that's only if I get a strong hit. So I don't get progress on my goal. But I am going to imagine something. Well, first, we take +1 to momentum. Something interesting or a peril about this place. Actually, let's go back to, no, not moves, an oracle. And let's go back to this. Let's go back down here. Let's roll on this table down here. 66. Sabotaged equipment. Okay. So here's how I'm going to picture this. So Hawking Duval notices when he works on the panel that this equipment has been recently sabotaged. That would explain why the people on Lodestar have just been calmly going about their business, exploring the planet. They have a whole cover of terraforming the planet, but then they're secretly trying to get something, an item off of this vessel. That would explain why they're going about this calmly, as this imminent destruction wasn't a thing until recently. And Hawking Duval understands that the only thing that could have caused this sabotage to rig this ship to explode would be those spacers that he saw. So Hawking Duval is confused. He's confounded by all of this that is happening around him. But now he understands that not only are there remnants, those ancient biomechanical creatures here, not only are there zombies of the original crew, but at least some spacers have rigged this vessel to explode for some purpose. And that the crew of Lodestar did not know that these people were down here. Or if they did, they didn't tell him. That doesn't seem likely. He assumes they didn't know because these people seem to be working at cross purposes against the people of Lodestar. He has less time than he could have ever imagined to explore this derelict, to find the object that Lodestar wishes, and to collect a mineral sample that Ogre wants, to return to the rover, to return to the Shard of the Sun, and get off the surface of the planet before this vessel explodes. So Hawking Duval takes a deep breath. He records some of the information around him with his little scanner. He just records it. He takes images and pictures of the control panel and the symbols, and he dives further into the vessel.
Thank you for listening to Forged Among Stars.